Hello and welcome back to the Hutchinson Veterans Outreach Program. I'm here today with Tom McKenna, and he's from EST. And I'd like to first say hello, and if you could tell us what the EST stands for.
Sure. And it's ETS.
ETS, sorry about that.
Oh, that's totally fine. ETS stands for every third Saturday, and every third Saturday we got that name from the veterans that we have supported along the way. We used to set up in the parking lot of the VA Medical Center in Minneapolis on the third Saturday of every month.
Okay.
It was just informal. I was actually working for a big veterans nonprofit at the time, so it was just an informal thing we did. And they started calling us the every third Saturday people.
Okay.
And so when we finally decided to basically go full-time, incorporate as a nonprofit, we had to keep the name. It was given to us.
Very nice, very nice. Now, I hear you kind of ran into this and started your organization, well, through a lot of blessings and a lot of help.
That's right.
Would you like to tell us how you got started?
Yeah. So I was out of the service at this time. I was working, doing a sales job, and making some sales calls up in Fridley, Minnesota. And, come around a cloverleaf, and I come up to a red light, and there was a gentleman on my left with a sign that said "Homeless Vet, please help." I didn't get that. I just didn't. I grew up in New York. I was very familiar with homeless people, but homeless vet, I didn't know it was a thing, and so it bugged me. But I really just wanted. It was so uncomfortable. The light turned green. I was happy, like hit the gas and I'm out. But it bugged me. It really did. So I went back the next day, and he was there again. I pulled over, and the story was that he had come home from overseas. Unbeknownst to him, while he was gone, his wife and kids had moved, no forwarding address. And there was actually other people living in the apartment they had been renting. And so he didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
And I said, "Oh, okay, well, what do you need?" And he said, I thought he'd say money, so I had $20 for me. And he said, "I need underwear and socks. I haven't changed my underwear in a week."
Wow.
And it's kind of making me feel like crap.
And to hear that coming from our vets, it's just something you don't expect.
And to look at them, I mean, people have a stereotypical vision of homeless veteran. A lot of times it's the guy with long gray beard, and maybe he's got a brown paper bag with a bottle in it.
Yep, that's stereotypical.
It is. And he wasn't like that at all. You wouldn't know it at all. But his dignity was shot. And that was the point. So we went down to Walmart, we got some underwear and socks. Never saw him again. And it was at first I was like, God, that's disappointing. You know, we wanted to see how he was doing. But looking back, that was a blessing. That means hopefully he moved on in some meaningful way.
I never did get an email from you. Was that the 22nd?
So that's how it started. I went home and told my wife, Jessie, that this is a thing. Maybe we should check out. Is there other people like this? And of course, there's thousands. Especially back then, 11, 12 years ago, there was a good 3,000 to 4,000 homeless vets in Minnesota. And so once we discovered that, it was a spark that lit a flame that just has organically grown, and so many good people have come alongside and said, we want to help. And so it's really in spite of me, in spite of us, that we've gotten to the point we're at today.
That's fantastic. So tell us a little bit more about your organization. I know you have clothes over here and a donation spot. and you hand these things out, your personal care items. There's some boots over there, blankets over there for people who need them.
Yeah. And that's always been our heart where we started. We started out of a little 5x8 trailer, and then it grew to some tables at the VA, and then now it's an actual store. And then in our future home, it'll be set up like a retail store. We want the experience to be really like you're actually shopping.
Okay.
And so, but over the years it's not my count. I couldn't count this high, but I've been told we've given out over 150,000 different items, from quilts, sleeping bags, coats, boots, hygiene items,
Very nice.
clothing, and each November for the last 5 years we've been blessed to be able to give new winter boots to every veteran who needs a pair. You know, and again, see a veteran come in and tennis shoes with holes in them in November when there's snow on the ground, it's like, we can't have this.
Exactly.
I don't care what your story is or what, like, we just can't have that. We can fix that.
It's about being human
It is, it really is.
and showing humanity.
That's right. And so Red Wing shoes and Mason shoes and Schuler, they just come together and donate, and it's a fantastic thing, and it's a great example of how it all comes together to really make a veteran feel like no one's ever worn these boots. They're brand new, make sure they fit right, they're high quality, and it's like, wow.
Sometimes it's good to just to feel like a little bit of special,
That's right.
you know,
That's
and
right.
it doesn't take much. You know, sometimes it's just something easy from a smile to a pair of boots.
That's right.
It's that easy.
So we like to talk about how it's not what we deliver, but how we deliver it is what's important.
Exactly. If it's delivered with respect and with honesty and an open heart, usually it's received fairly well.
Yeah, it is. You're right about that. For sure.
Now, the people that can come into your shop, from my understanding, are veterans and their families.
Yes.
Okay.
And so pre-COVID, we would have events on the third Saturday of each month
Okay.
where veterans would come and hang out in our coffee shop, which we had to close due to COVID, but Salvation Army would come and serve lunch, and in groups of about 5 or 6, they would go over to the store and shop through and get what they need. And unfortunately, COVID prevented us from having 60 or 70 people in one room, and so we had to change our model. So after 10 years, we went from doing it 1 day a month to doing it every day of the month.
Okay.
And so on the third Saturdays now we're just getting rolling with it's more of a social event. This coming third Saturday will be it's a trivia contest. And we'll have food and we'll have music and we'll have fun, and it's a good way to get together.
Well, exactly.
But for the distribution part, a veteran can come in one time a month and their family and get whatever they need. From Tuesday to Friday, 9 to 4, that's when we're open.
And then you also have a drop-off bin out there too for people who want to donate.
Yes.
What kind of items can people donate?
Any clothing and shoes.
Okay.
Any condition, gender, size. Tuesdays and Thursdays we have volunteers ready to help us receive those donations. And so then they sort through them. The best stuff goes on the racks for the veterans, and we'll make sure that the selections that they have when they come in are the best quality we can get.
Exactly. And I've seen a lot of blankets over there.
Yes.
I know it's summertime right now. People aren't thinking about blankets, but in the wintertime they're desperately needed.
Yeah, come October or so, they'll start moving off the shelf again.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's a wonderful, absolutely beautiful group of ladies in Wisconsin, and I think it's 8 churches now who have quilting groups that just quilt just for us. And
Oh,
it's-
very
and
nice.
it keeps us stocked and supplied.
Wow.
One of them, the lady that actually started the whole quilting operation, Wanda Gustafson, her son, was in Air Force Special Operations for many years. Unfortunately, took his own life. His PTSD got so bad. And really, we talk about PTSD, but what really had happened is he had seen and done some things that just wounded his soul.
Well, like they say sometimes it's, even with depression and PTSD, it's from having to try to be strong for too long.
Absolutely.
You know, people who suffer from PTSD aren't weak.
No.
They just have to be strong way too long.
That's right. We wouldn't ask people with diabetes to go untreated for years, or
Exactly.
heart disease, but PTSD seems to be a little different. Stigma, and some of it's on us as veterans. We have to be willing to put our hand up and say, I need help.
Exactly. And
It's
as
just
veterans, we know it's hard to do that.
Absolutely.
I mean, we're used to being the caretakers, we're used to being the ones that lead,
Right.
you know. So to step back and say, maybe I need some help.
Because we can't help anybody else until we get right ourselves.
Exactly.
You know, I've had to learn that myself.
Yeah, I had to learn that the hard way too.
I bet.
But it's well worth it. And there are a lot of people that are out there that are willing to help. Your organization, there are a lot of other organizations too. They're out there that if you need help, all you have to do is pick up the phone, make a phone call, walk in the door, talk to someone.
That's right.
There's no shame in it.
No, not at all. And for us here at ETS, we're not trying to fix you. We're not here as your savior. We're not here to impose a solution on you.
Exactly.
What we are here is to support you. Just sometimes that's just taking a time out.
Exactly.
Like, I just need a breath. I just need to take a deep breath. And so you can do that here.
And sometimes it's just to get out of your own head.
Absolutely.
Sometimes we're our own worst enemy.
It can get dark in there.
You get start things going in your head, and it can get trapped in there.
Absolutely.
So sometimes other people can just give you a little bit of lead out of that headspace and put you into someplace a little bit safer.
That's right. And I learned going through therapies at VA and other places, the most healing I've ever experienced is just in a group of veterans. Not the social worker or the individual teaching a class. Or tools are important, we need them, we got to use them. But the healing part is when we've been able to look at each other and cry. And maybe say something you've never been able to say before.
Exactly.
About this happened or whatever.
And a lot of times veterans are really reserved in what they do say.
Yeah.
Or we feel like we can't say, you know, because of different stigmas. So to open up to other veterans, it can really be really, well, helpful is to say the least.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can start reaching down and open up a little bit of that part of ours and say it's okay. You know, we've been through a lot of stuff, we've seen a lot of stuff, but it's okay to talk.
Yeah, and I can remember being in a VA therapy group, and where the social worker sits back for a while and just lets us talk. And it was an Afghan veteran, myself, a Vietnam veteran, an Iraqi veteran. All of us crying at the same time. Because the Vietnam veteran had finally said what he's been holding in for 45 years. And it's just incredible. And so, and incredibly healing. Incredibly healing.
And you know that the veterans aren't going to judge other veterans. Well, I shouldn't say that. Not all veterans judge other veterans.
Right, the trust has to be there,
Exactly.
but it is. I do think amongst veterans the trust is implied until proven otherwise.
Exactly.
And so, yeah, once we realize we can all trust each other, no one has to be, you know.
Exactly, and especially in a case like that, where we're all actually there to help each other.
That's right.
And we also can find healing in helping each other. I've always had the opinion of, you know, if you really want to help yourself, help somebody else.
That's exactly.
And it's amazing how far that goes.
No doubt.
You and speaking, sitting down, speaking with other veterans and learning about each other, learning their stories. A lot of that healing can be said.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely fantastic. Which leads me to one of the other questions I have for you. I've heard you've got some programs going on.
We do. So we have a couple relatively new. We're waiting for COVID to subside as long as we could. But the first is called Pop Smoke. Pop Smoke is through our website, but it's a digital way for veterans and their families to reach out for resources. So we have, I believe it's up to 16 partners in the network, and so the veteran is empowered to go in, or a spouse. I know my wife has dragged me once or twice to where I needed to go.
Very nice.
But yeah, they can just go in and check some boxes about what it is they need support in. It could be housing, finances, social connection. So we have veteran scuba, teaches veterans how to dive.
Oh, very
Get them
nice.
certified. DAV, MACV, employment specialists, and so just a wide range of things. So if a veteran, and I can say this because I have a 23-year-old Army veteran living in my basement,
Oh, there you go.
who is working through the effects of his service, and he's not gonna show up here. He's just not. But if he's got a digital way to access things in a way he can control, he's much more likely to do so. And so we wanted to do whatever we could to establish that. So,
Very nice.
yeah, we partner with an organization out of Houston, Texas that has kind of pioneered it, and they're helping us implement it here in the Twin Cities.
Very nice.
Then the other big one is called Warriors Paths, and that's a course designed for vets who need a fresh start or a second chance. It could be just released from incarceration, it could be newly sober, newly housed, maybe they just completed a VA treatment program, and looking for that bridge to say, I'm feeling better, I'm no longer in crisis, but I'm a little stuck. And so the course is designed to bring resources alongside. They let us know where do they want to go, and we support them with as many resources as we can garner to get them there. So we're in week 10 of our first group right now, of a 12-week course. We did decide to shorten it to 6. 12 weeks is a long time.
That is true.
And so we're always learning and evolving. But we're working with various entities, Department of Corrections, Minnesota VA, DAV, different organizations, the VA, to find good candidates. And all we ask is that they're motivated to make positive changes. If they, we
You
have
can only help somebody so far.
yeah, as much as they're willing, as far as they're willing to go, yeah.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
we have a 6
I
bed.
was figuring you'd finish that for me.
I appreciate that. and we have a 6-bedroom house where veterans who need a place to stay can stay there while they're in the course. And all the while we're working on a permanent retirement plan, we're working on employment, financial management, but what we're really working on is what's going on in the soul. And not looking backwards. It doesn't matter anymore. Some of it's going to come back at times. Poor decisions have a way of coming back,
Yep.
but that doesn't mean that they have to define them.
Exactly.
You can't wear it as a label, and so it's all about looking forward. Where are you going to go? And we don't. You have a felony, or you're bankrupt, or you did this. All those things are behind you.
That's where you were.
That's where you were, not where you're going.
Today is where you are.
And today is where you are, and that. See, I skipped right over it. I am always learning that the present is the most important moment we got. And so I like to skip it and race ahead. So thank you for that.
So your next program starts when?
Tentatively August 23rd.
Okay. And then that'll be a 6-week.
That'll be 6.
Okay. I also hear you've got some other exciting things going on. You got a new building going in?
Yes, the building we're in now, which is about 100 years old, is 3 blocks from the VA Medical Center. And so we didn't want to lose our location. The old owner let us know they were intending on selling the building, so we tried to purchase it. But we kept getting outbid. Eventually we had to bow out because the number got too high.
Ah, okay.
Turned out to be great people. Our landlords are excellent. But in turn, there was a property just 20 yards away across the street that was for sale, and we did buy that. We purchased that.
Okay.
And it was an old auto shop for decades. We tried to renovate it, and again, that was a 100-year-old building as well.
A little hard to do.
A little hard to do. It had been hit by a tornado in 1963, and they didn't really repair it right. And
Oh, no.
a lot of upkeep hadn't been done, so it finally came down to an engineer coming in and saying, "We're sorry, guys, but you're never going to renovate this building it'll never last 50 years. So you might want to rethink your approach." And we didn't know what to do. Now we had this property, this building that really wasn't viable, and we didn't know what to do. The Star Tribune ran an article on us on Veterans Day in 2019. It just happened to be in the Sunday paper, hit the front page, and the blowback for us as just a tiny organization was like, blowback in a positive way.
Oh, yeah.
Was, more than I could ever dream of. We got dozens and dozens of phone calls and things. One of those calls was from a gentleman who just left their name, said, "I'd like to talk to you about your organization." I said, "Okay, that's one of 30, 40 phone calls I have to return." But that individual turned out to be very wealthy, had done very well for himself in life, and wanted to give back, and was looking for a veterans organization to support.
Very nice.
Not just by writing a check, but by helping them grow into, and we fit that bill.
Yep.
And that individual wants to remain anonymous, but said, "Dream big. What do you want to do?" And I thought, "Well, let's renovate this." No, stop. Dream big. And so we did.
Very nice.
And now we're breaking ground in a couple weeks on what we call the Veterans Resource and Empowerment Center. And we'll have a fitness center for veterans, flex space for peer groups, for our art group. We have Tai Chi, yoga, the community center, versatile space. We like to show the Super Bowl, that kind of event. Brand new clothing store. And we'll also have a full service coffee shop, which is, we'll be able to employ veterans there. And that'll be called Rick's Coffee Bar. And it's called Rick's because the gentleman I alluded to earlier, who was the Air Force vet who killed himself, his name was Rick. And so we do that to honor his memory, and also to, no one wants to talk about suicide, but it gives us a chance to bring up suicide in a way.
It's there.
That's,
Just because we don't talk about it doesn't mean it's not going to happen.
that's right.
Maybe if we did actually talk about it a little bit more, let people know there is other choices.
Exactly. Take the stigma away, and so we're excited about all that, of course. Bigger than we ever dreamed. We're still a very small organization, and we like it that way.
Okay.
We get a lot of support from other bigger organizations, and we're proud of that. We value those partnerships. We just want to stay small. You get too big, you lose the ability to instill that dignity and purpose. It becomes corporate, and
You lose the one-on-one.
yeah, you do. And this is a community, not a program, so we want to make sure it stays that way.
Exactly. So if, excuse me, if there's somebody out there that's watching this, if there's any way they can help,
Sure.
I know we're going to have one of your flyers posted at the end of the show. Do you have an email address or anything like that you'd like to give a shout out to where people can go?
Yes.
Or even if they just want a helping hand.
Yes, either or. Best place to start is our website at everythirdsaturday.org. That's all spelled out. And, my email is tom@everythirdsaturday.com. You can reach out either way. No contact will go unanswered, I can promise that. I can't promise much, but I can promise that.
That is fantastic. I also wanted to give a shout out. You have a dog when you walk into this office, and it's just the sweetest guy.
Right.
I heard he was your service dog.
Yes, Mac is my service dog. That's right.
And I think he's now become the office dog, office mascot.
Absolutely. Some days we say he runs the show.
So just to let somebody know that might be coming in, the dog belongs here. He's
Yes, he is.
fairly friendly. Well, actually, he's really friendly.
But he is unusual in his appearance. When people first see him, he's about an 80-pound pit bull with a large head.
Yeah.
And people say, "Whoa, what is this?" And he just wants to love you.
Yeah, I've noticed some people actually do have an issue with dogs whose heads are bigger than ours.
Well, that's right. His head is bigger than mine. So.
Yeah, and it's like, no, it's just, but it just happens to be that way. It's okay.
That's it.
But we try to let people know that when they're coming into a place that, if you don't feel welcome, talk to somebody.
Yes.
If you're standing outside, afraid to come in, call.
That's right.
Or let somebody know you're here. Like I said, there's no shame in asking for help. There's no shame in giving it.
Right.
We're all supposed to be there for each other.
And really, we are all in this together. I usually tell a story about I got hurt in the service, and I didn't necessarily react well. I didn't get treatment for my issues. I was drinking a lot. I got in trouble with the enlisted club fight, and I actually ended up that night punching a police officer. And that should have been it for me. It should have been a dishonorable discharge. And it just so happened that police officer had gotten out of the Marine Corps about 6 months previous. And he said, "Listen, this is your lucky day. I'm going to take you to your first sergeant instead of bringing you up on charges for hitting me." And he saved me. And I always remember that because my life could have been so much different.
Exactly.
And it was just chance and blessing. I believe in God, and I believe God was looking out. But so it's just everyone's got a story.
Exactly.
And we want to hear it. We want to hear it because it is.
They're fascinating.
It's important and it's fascinating, and yeah, there's real value in bringing what you have into what we're doing.
Is there, before we end the show here, I wanted to find out if there's anything that we may have missed that I didn't cover or you'd like to say.
No, I'd just like to say to veterans that it's not only okay, it's a responsibility to your family, to your community. You have to say, I need a hand, I need to pop smoke, I need an evacuation here because this is not going well. And to say to spouses that it can be an extremely lonely place to love a veteran who's struggling, and they shouldn't be afraid to reach out either, because it can be really hard to be all alone. Veterans get taken care of. At least we have the VA and things, and spouses not as much.
Well, I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you for starting this organization. It's fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for your service.
And yours.
Take care.
Thank you so much.